So today we're going to look at the question of if God determines everything down to how people sin, how can he still hold men accountable? As Calvinism holds its view of God's eternal decree. This is an objection, and I don't really like to deal with arguments against Calvinism, because they're often based on false presuppositions, and once you deal with the presupposition, then you don't have to deal with the argument. But I'm going to deal with this one because it's also a question that gets asked a lot. And hopefully as I answer it, you'll be able to see why it's bad. I can show why it's a bad objection too. So, how does God hold men accountable if they were already determined to do what they were going to do? Suppose that you had bought a dog, and it wasn't just any dog, it was a fighting dog, and it had been trained and molded to fight and kill other dogs. It had killed other dogs. And you bought that dog, and you brought it home, and you let it in your house with your family and your kids, and after a couple of days, the dog went over to the crib where the baby was sleeping and grabbed the baby by the neck and ate it. Are you gonna shoot that dog? Because if you shoot that dog or you put him down, you're holding that dog responsible for what he did to the baby. And if you say, well, it wasn't the dog's fault because he was trained, he had a bad master, like he was pre-programmed to do all that stuff. I'm just putting him down, I'm just killing him because I don't want him to do it again. But that doesn't really escape you from the problem, because what you're really saying is that you're still saying because he did the evil deed, he's going to get punishment meted out against it. And you cannot escape that fact. There's no way to do it. So in the same way, God can hold men accountable for their actions. And he can hold them even more accountable because they can reason and they can see God and his revelation and still reject it. Now, in case somebody wants to use the analogy to prove something that's not being proved, let's go to Romans, because you might say, but that just proves God's a bad trainer, just like that dog trainer. It's not what we're trying to prove with the analogy. Well, let's see what Paul says about that. You will say to me then, why does he still find fault? Who can resist his will? But who are you, O man, to answer back to God? Well, what is molded, say to its molder, why have you made me like this? Has the potter no right over the clay to make out of the same lump one vessel for honorable use and another for dishonorable use? The answer is yes, the potter does have the right to do with clay. What if God, desiring to show his wrath and to make known his power, has endured with much patience vessels of wrath prepared for destruction, in order to make known the riches of his glory for vessels of mercy, which he has prepared beforehand for glory? Even us, whom he has called, not only from the Jews, but also from the Gentiles. And so, I understand that this can be a hard answer, but it is the answer. And if you don't like it, don't blame me or Calvinism or some system. Talk to Paul about it. And then talk to Jesus about it.